Hey there. Thanksgiving is coming up, and I don't know how it typically goes for you, how you normally feel about it. But in this video, I want to encourage you to have an intentional approach to your Thanksgiving, to decide up front what it's going to be like, what you're going to focus on, what you want out of the experience, what memories you want to make, because you can do that. You are able to have agency over your life. And in spite of what past Thanksgivings have been like, in spite of what past family dynamics have been like, you can choose today to really think about what you want to see going forward and make moves toward it. And in this video, I want to encourage you in 3 ways to do just that. So, I don't know if you're busy cooking or busy making reservations or whatever, but this week, Thanksgiving coming up, you have an opportunity, and especially if you're like me and you have children in college, and so when you get to see them and spend time with them is few and far between compared to when they were in your house all the time. And so you look forward to things like Thanksgiving, things like Christmas dinner and all that good stuff. At least I hope you do. And I want to encourage you to make the most of those times, whether the kids are little or whether they're a lot older. So many good memories can be made during these occasions, and if the tone is set right, you can keep that thing going throughout the rest of the year. I'm a big proponent of the first thing I will encourage you to do is to get that family around the table. I know, because I've had kids playing sports and all the things, and I know how hard it is to get everyone around a table eating a meal together. Just one per day can really be a major feat, and yet Thanksgiving gives you the time to do just that, whether it's just your nuclear family or extended family. This is a time that everyone gets to gather around, hopefully the best food they eat all year. Maybe it's the time you make your special things, and so they're looking forward to it, and so you will get them to a table. And if you just set a time that is dinner time, maybe you have some snacks or things that they can, munch on while you're fixing dinner, and so they can look forward to the set time that you all will have dinner. I encourage you to do that. There are all kinds of awesome things that happen when a family gathers around the table. It's just even saying that everyone here matters. Everyone at this table matters because we're all coming together at this time to be together. People are going through things, your kids are going through things, you're going through things every day in life. And sometimes the thing happens and no one is around for you to share it with, to process it with, even if you don't need their help with it, just to share, this is what happened in my day today. And it can feel very isolating, very lonely, that even though I'm in a family, I'm still just going through things by myself. But when people know that they're going to be around the table at a certain time, if it's even just once a week, in our home, we generally eat together every evening unless someone's at work or someone's coming in late from work or there's an after school activity. But most days we're eating together at dinner. And so that is the time when we're all catching up on what's going on with everyone. That's the time when we talk about schedules. That's the time we talk about highs and lows for the day. That's just the time when everyone can share and get everybody caught up and address things that happened that day that, were either great or sucked or whatever. That's just that time. And when you set that time and say, this is the time for us to be together, you don't have to say anything more than that. It's understood that, oh, I'm valued by these people because we're all committing to coming together for this time. And do the kids like want or see the need in it per se? No, and they don't have to. That's something that they will come to understand. My kids have always understood we're sitting around this table to eat. I know there are people who just eat whenever, like they just grab food whenever and stand wherever or sit wherever to eat. We sit around the table. And so because it's muscle memory now, and because as they've gotten older, they've been able to see what happens when we're around the table, it's sort of weird to them if they're not, if we're all home and we're not eating at the same time. It's odd. Are there times when they try to bring their phone to the table? Sure, and it's not allowed. So that's on this table topic. I would encourage you to let it be a phone-free time. There are hours and hours that they spend on the phone, that we all spend on the phone, and we can take half an hour or however long you take to eat. And it's not just the eating, it's also the conversation after eating. But you can take that time to focus on people at the table, to look them in the eye while they're speaking. That's another communication of value, that I can focus on you. I can look you in your eye and let you know that I'm paying attention to what you're saying. It's not just that I hear words, but I'm listening to you and I want to know and care about what you're saying. So it is a phone-free time when we're all at the table. Now, yeah, I used to be no phone at the table anytime. But, if they're eating by themselves because they're catching lunch, whenever they're catching lunch, then they'll have the phone at the table and their headphones are on and they're watching whatever they're watching. But when it's dinner time and we're all at that table, it is a no phone time. Again, creating a culture in your home of value, that the people who live there know that they are valued by the people who live there. Because when we leave our homes, you don't know what experience you're going to have with the other people in the world and what kind of day they're having, and whether they're loved or not, whether they live alone or not. Like, you just don't know who you're coming across. And to be able to come out of a home where you know that you are loved and where people commit to connecting with you on a daily basis, it does something for your outlook. It does something for your sense of self, your sense of self-worth. And who doesn't need that? And in particular, your children need that, because they are the most susceptible at their age to insecurity. And so to arm them with the knowledge that they are loved, that their words matter, their opinions matter, is just a great way to insulate them to some degree as they go out every day and experience life in the world. What do we talk about at the table is anything, really. How we're feeling, what happened. We here and there will do highs and lows. It used to be something we did all the time as like a conversation starter. What was your high today? What was your low? But it's whatever is on somebody's heart. Are we always talking every time? No, there are some times that it is crickets. And sometimes somebody will try to bring up a topic, and sometimes we'll go most of the meal and there's not much said. We're just enjoying the meal. So it's not a thing of you have to come to this table and you have to be ready to talk, although that is the second point, is that this time, especially Thanksgiving, is a time of, your food, fun, laughter, you're talking, you're catching up, especially if you are getting together with family that you don't normally see. They're coming into town, whether they flew in or they drove in. You don't see them all the time, and so you're catching up and you're talking. But even if not, even if it's just your nuclear family, we tend to, because we live in Texas and we don't have other family here in Texas. We have chosen family, but not blood family. And so we'll have Thanksgiving and it be just us, but it'll be talking about memories of past things or just all the things, catching up about what's going on with my son at school now that he's back home, what have you. It's just when people know that there is a time where they will be heard, the talking just sort of takes care of itself. But the beauty of sitting at the table is that that's what you're making room for. You're making room for the possibility of conversation, for the purpose of connection. And that's really what people need, is to feel connected to other people. That's how we feel healthy, and that's how we feel stable in the world, is that we're not just islands floating around, that there are people who care about us and demonstrate it by the time that they spend and the interest they take in what's going on in our lives. So that table is important, and it's also the opportunity to talk. And I encourage you also this Thanksgiving and throughout the holiday season going forward to also take stock. That would be the third T that I would leave with you. Take stock of, and if you don't know what that means, taking stock is just reflecting and thinking intently about what has been, what could be. People often say take stock of your life. Well, take stock of your family. Reflect on how everybody's doing, how you're doing as a family unit, how well are you connected, how well are your children connected with each other, how well are you relating with each of your children. What are things that you are noticing about them that you want to invest in further? Or what are things that you want to talk to them about because they are concerning? But more than anything, particularly in the holiday time, let the taking stock be just being thankful for them, being thankful for how far they've come, being thankful for the things that make them uniquely them, and sharing that with them. I know myself personally, because I am very into, my temperament is one where I'm like finding the problem. What is the problem? Because I need to fix it. It makes for a great doctor. It doesn't always make for a great mom. And so I also have to be intentional about giving my children praise, like noticing things about them, taking stock in their lives, and calling out, pointing out the things that I'm seeing about them that I think are pretty cool, the ways that they are being courageous, how they're stepping out and trying new things, whether it is the creative exploits that my oldest is going into. He is a musician, whether it's our middle child and how he is stretching himself in college and he is putting himself in positions that he normally would dread, but he's pushing himself because he realizes that that's how he grows, and challenges are how he grows. And so when I see him doing that, I'm congratulating him and praising him for how he's doing that, whether it's our youngest and how she is not only excelling in school, but how she's pushing herself athletically as she prepares for track season, or how she is becoming more and more self-aware in her relationships with others and establishing boundaries. Just how you see them maturing and how you see them growing. It is a wonderful time and opportunity when you're sitting around the table, Thanksgiving and beyond, through the holiday season, to call those things out. And it speaks life over them. It encourages them. I know they like to eye roll and act like it's not a big deal and, stop being weird or however uncomfortable it makes them. But quiet is kept, as we used to say. Quiet is kept when they are away from the table. Those things matter to them. It makes their chest poke out. They feel good that their parents are not just calling out the things that are frustrating, the things that are the burdens of parenting or those kinds of things, and that we're not just being quiet about the things that they're doing well, but that we're choosing to be vocal, we're choosing to be observant and expressing our joy in seeing how they're coming along. So just a little food for thought as you get ready for Thanksgiving and all the days where you can gather with your family going through into the new year. Yeah, get around that table. This is a great time to establish that as a family norm, that whoever is home, this is dinner time, and if you're home, you be at the table for dinner. It's not hard. Yeah, and at first they might balk. At first they might resist. But when you explain the why, and then you commit to the why, so when they see that you're serious about it, that you didn't just get this idea from this video or from someplace else, and then you're just trying to do something new, but when you've bought into it and you see the beauty and the potential in it, and you are consistent in being ready with dinner at that time and having it on the table. And oh my goodness, please, thank you, Lord, for reminding me. Let me make this clear. I'm not talking about making a gourmet meal. It has nothing to do with what the meal is. Sure, as a pediatrician, I would like you to have something that's not store-bought or fast food all the time. But if that's how you can get around the table, then do it. Because if you're only doing it maybe once a week, or you're starting slow, or whatever it is, make it a thing to look forward to. And so if getting fast food for the time that it's family dinner is the thing that would make it more enticing for them, then do it. Because, once they get a taste for having that family time, then you can bring in healthier options. And, there's always meal prepping. If whatever your work schedule allows or doesn't allow, you can meal prep, have things prepared in advance. However you want to do it. We're not talking about a gourmet meal. We're talking about the power of the table, the power of getting together around a table and establishing the pattern that we are a unit, we are for each other, and we demonstrate that by coming together intentionally to have ears to hear what anybody wants to say, to be able to voice our own issues, and receive wisdom from each other if we want. If not, if we're just informing, then you can make that clear as well. But just the time, just focusing on gathering together is priceless. And again, you're gathering around the table to talk about whatever comes to mind to talk about. If you have a need for an icebreaker, there are all of those. You can find something on Amazon. We have had something for years called the Ungame. I don't know if it's still sold. Couldn't tell you where we got it from because we've had it so long. But it's the Ungame because it's not really a game. It's just a bunch of questions. There's 2 different stacks. One is more like generic get to know, which you'd probably more likely do with a stranger. But if you have younger children, that would be good for them you're getting to know them because they're new in your life, basically. And then the second stack are more I know you better type questions, and you can probe a little deeper. And sometimes we'll pull those out. Sometimes my daughter will run and go get it, or the middle child, our son will go get it and pull out a card. And what's great about the Ungame is you can ask a question. Either you pick someone to ask the question, or you pick it and you answer it yourself, and you cannot be interrupted. So nobody is allowed to ask you questions about, like, you're in the middle of giving an answer and they're like, well, why are you saying? Nobody's allowed to interrupt you. Nobody's allowed to ask you questions. It is, this is how I feel about this, or this is my answer for this, and that is that. And so it's a way to to be able to feel safe voicing your thoughts on things and know you have the room to do that. Of course, now that you've said these things, maybe later somebody can circle back another time and be like, hey, when you said such and such, what did you mean by that? I'm intrigued to know more about how that came to be, or whatever it is. But at that time, when they're answering that question, they cannot be interrupted. They cannot be told, that's not right, or you shouldn't feel that way, or in any way challenged. It's a time of expression. It's a time of being vulnerable, and the conditions are such that it's safe for that. So that's a great thing you can do to encourage conversation, especially if this is something new and awkward for you, and maybe your house is like mine and it's full of teens and y'all haven't been talking, and then now you're like, what are we going to talk about? That is a great way to get the conversation started. And yeah, just take stock as you're sitting there at the table and you're looking at your kiddos, and you think about how, man, they were babies, and now look at them, and now look what they're into, and look what they're talking about, and look how they see the world, and look what's important to them, and look what they're passionate about. And say what you see. Say what you see. Share your pride. Encourage them. Tell them you love them. Tell them you love them. If you don't normally tell them, maybe that's awkward for you because you were never told, and because you didn't experience it, you don't think to do it. And so I'm just your girl here, reminding you, tell them you love them. Tell them. It means a lot. I know you think they should just know because you feed them and you go to work and you pay for all this stuff. I know you think that should mean that. And for some people, if acts of service is their love language, that's how they will interpret it. But if people need words of affirmation, and really everyone needs words of affirmation, it's just that some need them more than others, give them the words. Give them the words that you love them. And how proud you are to be their mom. How grateful you are to have them in your life. Say that. It means a lot. It goes a long way, because you are an influencer. You are the biggest influencer in their life. It doesn't seem like that, and it sure doesn't feel like that, especially based on conversations you have with them here and there. But you are. You are. And so take advantage of these times. Take advantage of the holiday season to set some things in order that may not have been the norm in your family growing up, but certainly can be the new way that you lead your family going forward, that will have an impact on your family line for generations. I hope that helps. I'm going to let you get back to what you're doing, cooking, making reservations, girl, whatever. I'm going to go back to doing my cooking as well. And until next time, please remember, when it comes to you being the mother of your children, you are the woman for the job. Take care.